Welcome to All That and More, a podcast from the Regional Municipality of Wood Buffalo. I'm your host, Jillian MacDonald. And on this episode, I'm joined by Mayor Bowman and rmwb CAO Paul Thorkelsson. Today, we'll be talking about what 2023 has in store for the region and what's happening at the RMWB. We humbly acknowledge that All That and More is recorded on Treaty 8 territory, the traditional lands of the Cree and Dene and the unceded territory of the Métis. As we kick off 2023, there's no denying that this year is shaping up to be a busy year already. And what better way to get a glimpse of what's to come than by hearing from these two leaders of our region? Mayor Bowman and CAO Thorkelsson will be sharing their insights and thoughts on what we can expect in the year ahead. But before we get into that, I want to thank Mayor Bowman and CAO Thorkelsson for taking the time to join me today. So to kick things off, this question is for both of you. How would you recap 2022 in our region in 2 sentences or less? So we'll start with you, Mayor Bowman.
Certainly, thanks. 2 cents or less.
I know.
I love those questions. Like my Jeopardy. Yeah. But for me, being in the community for quite a number of years, we've been through so many challenges in the other years previous to this. I think 2022 is kind of the year we got back up. We kind of stabilized everything. We're doing well. I look forward to that continuing in 2023.
And how about you, Paul?
Yeah, well, for me, I guess it's a little bit different in that my 2022 was really 3 months. So if I was to say what it was like, it was a bit of drinking from the fire hose, I guess, to a degree. But so it's a welcome into the community and starting to work with mayor and council and the rest of the staff here at the RMWB.
And what do you think is in store for the region from an economic and financial perspective for 2023, Mayor Bowman?
For the economic and financial position, I think we can look at how well 2022 was for the oil sands industry and our energy sector, and we can only assume that that's going to continue for 2023. So I think we're in good shape that way. But with that said, I think we can also look forward to some other investments coming in and some projects, hopefully with the oil sands, which will lead to more jobs. And those are the bright parts, but we also have to look at, as our community has gone through wildfires, floods, pandemics, economic downturn, a lot of people in the community are doing well. But at the same time, a lot of people in the community are still struggling. So we always have to be mindful of that as we move forward.
So with that in mind, Paul, what does the community have in store when it comes to this year's budget?
Yeah, well, I think the 2023 budget is what I would describe as a really well-balanced budget. It's set out to maintain service levels, which I think is really important in providing those sort of supports that Mayor Bowman referred to. It has I think a balanced approach, maintaining the service levels, but also investing in the future and infrastructure. So building some new things and replacing some things that need replacement now. So it's done a good job, I think, of responding to council's interest in fiscal responsibility laid out in their strategic plan and provides that balanced approach.
And in 2022, Council adopted its new strategic plan. Following that, administration developed an operational plan to bring the strategic plan to life. So what are some examples of the operational work that is already underway that are part of the priorities of the strategic plan?
I think there's been some great work in probably all 5 of the pillars of the strategic plan, from work around improving the budget process, providing materials to council earlier in the process. That's a bit of an internal kind of piece. One of my priorities is the organizational and service review. That's an aspect on the fiscal side that's underway. Building partnerships has been a huge part of council's focus, and certainly has been a great deal of work from our Indigenous Relations Group and working in rural communities on engagements across the district and building those partnerships for the future.
So Paul mentioned partnerships, Mayor Bowman, and during this year's budget deliberations, an additional $1.8 million of funding was approved for 6 RCMP officers and 4 bylaw services officers. And the purpose of that was supporting traffic safety. But what difference do you foresee that will make in the region?
I think it's going to make a huge difference. As being a parent myself and of 3 children that have gone to 3 different schools in 3 complete different areas in the community, it's always been kind of on my radar as as a need for more presence in the school zones as well as residential areas. And that's what we hear from parents. We hear from parents and residents quite a bit that they'd like to see more presence in the school zones in the residential areas. And as we kind of phase out of mobile photo radar, we want to give the RCMP and the peace officers the resources they need to maintain a safe community.
And I know you see the value in working together with community partners and different levels of government. How are we doing this right now? And do you see other opportunities to make those relationships better?
I think we can always make them better, but I really think in the last year since I've been here, I think one of my strong points is building these relationships. That's been something I've been working hard with Indigenous communities, with industry, local business, residents, as well as our social profits. I've kind of made it a daily thing to make sure I'm in contact with someone every day. And with Indigenous communities, I start in Conklin and we go all the way to Fort Fitzgerald and talking to the chiefs, talking to communities. So I think that's a huge part of what we do and what makes us a good community. And in doing that, we hear the concerns of community members and residents daily when you're doing this and keep this partnership moving with everyone and working together, and it just makes it a better place to live.
We're going to take a quick break for our Municipal Minute. Lace up your skates and grab a stick. There are more than 8 outdoor rinks in the region that are open and ready to be enjoyed. Hockey not your thing? Check out the Lions Park Skating Trail or the Borealis Skating Pond. Grab cross-country skis and head to the Birchwood Trails or a toboggan to slide into the night at one of the many hills. There is lots of outdoor fun to be had. Check the park's map to find activities close to you. Get active with your Valentine. Volunteer to be a snow angel and help a senior in your neighborhood shovel their driveway and walkway. Become an angel today by signing up online at Wood Buffalo Volunteers. Get ready for winter fun. Winter Play is February 24th to March 5th, and there will be lots of free outdoor activities to enjoy. Fireworks, ice sculptures, horse-drawn wagon rides, ice skating, and more. Plus, Shootout on the Sny is back. Bring your friends and family. You don't want to miss it. That is today's Municipal Minute. Find more information on these initiatives in the show notes or on rmwb.ca. And if you have questions, call Pulse at 780-743-7000. This next question is for both of you. I'm going to start with you, though, Paul. What challenges do you think that we could see as a community this year, and how are we positioned to handle those that come our way?
Well, I think that, the RMWB is really well positioned on virtually any challenge. It's financially stable. Council's got a really robust strategic plan in place. We've got priorities laid out coming out of that strategic plan. So it's really about implementing on those priorities now. I think if I'm going to point to challenges, I think one of the things that we're facing, not just in the RMWB, but probably across the country, is a bit of a unstable economic situation. Inflation's been up, and certainly our residents have felt that. I would say, though, because of our financial position and Council's balanced approach, we've really been able to respond in working to keep taxes low in the area, keep taxes low for residents, yet still provide a high level of services. So I think we're in a good place. Never know what's going to come, but we're in a good place to respond to most things, I think.
Okay, and Mayor Bowman, how would you answer that?
A little bit differently. As when I look at challenges, I look at what we've gone through in the last seven years. So I think the people in this region, the people in this community have been through so many challenges and we've gone through it. Call it strong, call it resilient, call it whatever you want. I think our community is a community that can get through challenges no matter what they are. And as the CEO mentioned, we're in a strong fiscal position, so we can make changes quickly to help people to face those challenges. So I think we're in a strong position that way. And the community we are, we're adapt to facing challenges in the past. So I think we're in a good position. And the challenges we look forward that I see coming forward, I don't see earthquakes, so that's a good thing. But what I do see,
don't say that. There was one recently, not too far from here.
One,
we had a little one, but I don't see it. But as we look at, as the CEO mentioned, we also looked as the economy weight is right now, the cost of living, inflation, as well as labor shortages. So those are some challenges we're going to be facing, I think, in the upcoming year. And we tackle that one thing at a time as much as we can.
I know this is your favorite question, but in 2 sentences or less, Mayor Bowman, what are you most looking forward to in 2023?
2023, what I'm most looking forward to, as in my previous employment would say, that I was really involved in all the events in the community, no matter what it was. I was a chair of this, chair of that, running that, volunteering for this. So I'm really looking forward to the 2023 Arctic Winter Games, which is going to be taking place in a few days. That's going to highlight not only our facilities we have in town, but also the community we have here. And out of that, there's going to be 2,000 people leave this community as ambassadors of the RMWB. So that's something I'm really looking forward to. Another big event we have coming up is the 2023 Communities in Bloom National Symposium. And being the host, we're going to show the world, not only the local people in Fort McMurray, but everyone, how beautiful Fort McMurray can be. And we're going to kind of go over and above what we usually have. We always have a beautiful community, but I think this year really showcase what we can do here. The other thing I'm looking forward to 2023 is continuing speaking with residents. I think that's our biggest voice in council, knowing what the issues are and knowing no problem's too small and no problem's too big. Be able to bring it to myself or council, and we can bring it to administration, explore options, and just make this a better place to live.
Definitely not 2 sentences or less, but lovely response. I appreciate it.
And we're also both pushing for Edmonton Oilers to win the Stanley Cup.
Couple of fans, yeah.
Also a fan. So,
There we go. So that's 3.
Yeah, they at least have 3.
That's right. That's right.
Before we wrap up, Paul, how about yourself?
Yeah, I think for me, from an event perspective, I think the Arctic Winter Games is really exciting, and I'm really looking forward to that kicking off. From a project perspective, I think from my view, it's really implementing those priorities of council, focus on downtown, seeing our waterfront park redevelopment move forward again, and see that brought to a project that we can get out into market. And for me, organizationally, the org review and the service level review is going to be key for us setting up the organization for success.
How exactly will that set up the organization for success?
It would allow us to understand the organization better, sort of, I think, align it with council's priorities and delivering services and projects in a timely way, making sure that we're being effective and efficient. On the service side, which for me is almost more important, is really understanding our service levels so we can communicate with both council and the community about what our service levels really are. And if we want to change them, know that what we're changing from and what the implications of that are, whether it's resources or staffing, whatever is necessary to change those service levels, but at least understanding what they are. So if we want to make those changes, we do it in I think, a conscious way.
Thank you, Mayor Bowman and CAO Thorkelsson. And thank you for tuning in to another episode of All That and More.
Way!